The story goes that the second generation of Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal, right? The story goes that those games were intended to be the final Pokemon games, right? The end of the complete end of the series, and maybe this will become a series on this channel. But I want to today offer up a really interesting thing that I've noticed about these Generation 2 games and why I think it's just another drop in the bucket for why I think they are so special. Yeah, maybe this will become a series where I just defend Generation 2 because the slander online, I'm an old man at this point screaming, get off my lawn, but man, come on, guys. Let's show some respect. Anyways, okay. I want to talk about the shiny Pokemon in Generation 2 specifically. Something I've always thought about, or I at least noticed a couple months ago on my podcast, was this idea that, Generation 2, when shinies were introduced, like, it was, I feel like something that maybe gets overlooked, but shiny Pokemon are essentially like a brand new form of not only the new Pokemon in Generation 2, but really any Pokemon that gets introduced. It is inherently going to have a secondary form. Pokemon have forms, they have gender forms, they have, other forms that differentiate them, right? They can be more specific. Forms can be more specific to the line. But it is kind of cool that every single Pokemon, if it exists, it has a shiny, which means it has a secondary form. And I feel like we don't really I don't at least, think about it in that regard too much, but objectively, that is the truth. And so I took it a step further, and something that I kind of realized was that in Generation 2, not only did we get 100 brand new Pokemon, but we also got 151 new versions of all of the Kanto Pokemon that, fans had known and loved up to that point, which I really think, I don't know, that kind of breaks my brain a little bit. That's super cool to think that Johto, not only, because obviously Johto, the games itself, the region, the story, it is a sequel. It is fundamentally, it's got its own league. Actually, it doesn't have its own league. It's got its own story. It's got its own gym leaders. But everything, it's inseparable from Kanto is kind of the point. But it is kind of cool to think that Johto, right, Gold, Silver, and Crystal, we get a brand new game. Wow, 100 brand new Pokemon. But also, guess what? You can enjoy all of these original Pokemon, all the classics, the 151, on a Game Boy Color, in color, right, with brand new sprites. But also, all 251 Pokemon now have a secondary form. So that's over 500 Pokemon forms, right? Not counting all of the unknown, any other sort of forms that might exist. That's not counting any of those. But that's super cool. And so I don't know. This, like I said on my podcast, I had thought about this, the fact that like every, if there's 1,000 Pokemon, there is well over 2,000 canon, Pokemon, if you count their shiny forms, never mind all the other forms, right? I mean, that number for how many Pokemon exist, that could go up to 4,000 or 5,000, I feel like, with all the different forms and variations, right? But what's funny is my friend asked me, my group chat, my local group chat, they asked me, what's your favorite Gen 2 Pokemon? Shiny. What's your favorite? What are some of your favorite shiny Pokemon from Generation 2? And I found this on Google. Someone had, and I didn't realize it, but I sent them a whole voice memo. I was getting all hyped about these forms, and I said, wow, these designs really hold up. But what I do have on screen right now is like, it's a fan creation, taking the old sprites but applying the new colors, like the more modern shiny colors, and a lot of these look really, really good. But if we're to just look at the real shinies, that's what we'll look at today for our purposes. There's the first thing that I noticed, right, looking at this list, was, wow, there's a lot of Kanto Pokemon in Gen 2 in these sprites that I don't think I've ever seen as shiny, or maybe I have in passing. But there's a lot of really cool designs here that I just feel like doesn't really get a lot of, I don't know, appreciation or whatever. Some of them hold up. Some of them have the same sprites, the same color, shiny colors. But some of them are a lot different. I mean, I think everyone knows. I think everyone knows the purple Charizard. I think the dark Pikachu is really good. Honestly, the dark Pikachu, that's the same color as Windy Chew, Mr. Windy Chew and Mrs. Wavy Chew. Wow, we just made another discovery. That's crazy. Mr. Windy Chew and Mrs. Wavy Chew are the same color as the original shiny Pikachu. That's pretty cool. Arbok looks cool. It's like a much more muted. It's more like a green rather than like yellow, which it is now today. I think Oddish is kind of underrated. Poliwrath looks so good, actually. Poliwrath is like in modern day, it's like this lime green or this like bright green. But here it's like a cerulean. That's really, really good. That's a really nice color. I'm not going to go through, I guess, every single one of these. I think I just wanted to point out that there are some really cool variations of some of these Pokemon that I don't know. Maybe you've interacted with them. And I think we take shinies for granted. I think we take a lot of these things for granted. But like when we're giving a generation its props, I feel like everyone gives Kanto props for whatever it's done, you know, for establishing the series. And that's fine and warranted. But I think also people oftentimes will roll their eyes. And then what I hear is, man, Gen 4 is so good because the physical and special split. And Gen 5 so good because of all these, you know, new additions to competitive. Gen 6 with Megas. But the conversation, I feel like, when it comes to, like, what a Pokemon... I feel like, okay, my thesis is Generation 2, Gold, Silver, and Crystal. And maybe Generation 3 as well. I feel like that is actually what built the foundation of what a Pokemon game is. It's Gen 2, it's Gen 3. And you don't need to like the Johto games because, you know, they are not maybe that challenging. But I think it's a type of game, I don't know. I think Johto is I think Johto rewards players who take their time. It encourages you to, you know, people complain about like the level curve in the game almost be like, I don't know. I feel like people complain that it's like too difficult. Or, sorry, it's too easy in the middle of the game, but it's like too difficult at the end of the game. And that, I don't know. I think the solution there is, like, you know, you don't have to play differently. But I think what the game kind of wants you to do, or what it encourages you to do, is to use Pokemon and, like, cycle out your team like Ash Ketchum, you know? That's just, I don't know. That's totally off topic. But I don't know. This is a little thing about Johto that I never really appreciated. That we did not just get a 100 brand new Pokemon, and which can, you know, included evolutions of previous Pokemon, etc. That's not all we got. We also got all, like, the original 151, not reset, but like they have brand new forms, right? So if you had caught them all, guess what? You did not catch all of the shinies. Not that you actually would. There's a blurb on Bulbapedia. Where is this? This is Professor Elm's memo. This is in one of the, let me see. This is in Pokemon Gold and Silver, the complete Pokedex. I never had this one. I do have a bunch of, it's the Nintendo Power Guide. I never had this one. I had the Prima guides. But it's kind of cool to see what Professor Elm is talking about. He says, recently I began studying the extremely rare, specially colored Pokemon that you might have heard of or seen in your Pokemon travels. The most famous example of a specially colored Pokemon, the red Gyarados in the Lake of Rage, exhibits the classic attributes of a specially colored Pokemon. It shines before it attacks. Kind of like how he says that. It shines before it attacks. That is actually what happens. It shines in battle. And it has special markings next to its gender when stored in Bill's PC. While everyone will encounter the red Gyarados, other specially colored Pokemon are extremely rare. You may never run into one at all. All Pokemon found in the wild can be specially colored, but your chances of finding one or more are slim. They're showing like Nidoran here as kind of the example. This is the female Nidoran having the same colors as the male Nidoran. It's really cool, man. I don't know. I just think there's so many things we take for granted, which is fine because they exist and they are everywhere. But like, I don't know. I think that's just kind of special. I had never quite thought of it like that. And there are so many good shinies here. I think, like, I don't know, the Kanto birds look so good with their shiny forms. Man, Staryu is looking just as good. Electrode is a Pokemon I never cared about, but like, I think it looks striking in Generation 2 as a shiny. Same thing, honestly, all these blue shades are so good. Venomoth, the muscles of Machoke, so good. Victory Bell's looking good. Tentacle's looking good. Weezing's looking good. They're all so nice. Mew's looking pretty good. In terms of the Generation 2 shinies, what are the best ones? There's a bunch over here. Which ones? I think Totodile, the Totodile line is incredible. The Quilava line's pretty good as well. I actually like that like magenta, that like purple color. Meganium's color's not great. I like its modern shiny a little bit better. I think Espeon is overhated. The green color on shiny Espeon is so overhated. I think it looks really good in Generation 2. It's kind of freaky, like alien, right? I know nowadays with its with it having like, rubbery skin almost, it looks pretty. I think the model doesn't do well with that green color, but Espeon in this early generate. Wow, this is a really this is a high quality image, high resolution image. Espeon just looks so good here. I think it looks so good. You got like the white. It's not shadows, but like the light's reflecting off of it. And I think that looks really, really nice. Togetech's looking pretty nice as well. Umbreon looks great as always with the blue moon. I think Slowking is underrated. The Magcargo line looks really great. Swinub's actually looking pretty good. It turns blue, like icy blue, but it's actually more of like an indigo blue. But like it matches its type, which is kind of nice. That's always kind of nice when when a shiny enhances. Or like kind of the color builds upon something that already exists in the Pokemon. I do like that a lot. Steelix is not as golden, but I still like shiny Steelix here. Fortress, give it its props. Man, Marill looks really great actually, being like green. Bellossom's nice. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, the legendary beasts are unmatched. I think they're so great. You've got this like dark, almost like not burnt, but this like, yeah, that's like highly saturated with the yellow thundercloud for Raikou. Entei's looking burnt. We got the icy Suicune. They're also great. Oh, and then you get Skarmory. Skarmory's just like perfect. Actually, Ho-Oh's perfect as well. Actually, Porygon 2 is pretty perfect, and I like Tyrogue as well. All right, I'm going through all of them. Let me know what you think. I really will turn this into a series for real. I don't know. I think there's so many little things that I think about when it comes to Generation 2, and I'm like, we can make some nostalgic content. I don't know. Hope you're having a great day. I've been outside working, chainsawing, tearing down trees since 8 o'clock, and it's 6 hours later. I'm pretty tired. Look at how good Tangela looks. Like, you can't tell me that Tangela doesn't look like a brand new Pokemon here. Look at this. That green color on Tangela, it actually is like a grass type now. That's so good.